Celtics get a comfortable win over the Washington Wizards, 130-121. They've now won 3 straight, and this one came without their superstar in Jayson Tatum. Welcome in to Celtics Postgame Live, presented by your New England Ford dealers. He is Eddie House. I'm Abby Chin, and tonight we were starting to talk about Jaylen Brown. Season high 36 points in this one, Eddie. You look for guys to step up, and he did that.
Yeah, he went to work. You know, he understood the task tonight was to not be out there, come out flat. He had to lead by example, and he did that. Think about it, 36 points and only made 2 3-point field goals.
Wow.
Yeah. That lets you know how efficient he is, and when he picks his spots, he gets easy baskets and things like that. So it led to everybody else being successful as well. Yeah,
he is the master of the mid-range, and the Celtics overall, everyone stepping up to fill that 30-point void left by Jayson Tatum. They had 7 guys in double figures, but as I mentioned, led by Jaylen Brown. Chris Forsberg caught up with him after the game.
Jaylen, what does it say about your team, missing one of your top guys, but to still go out there and score 130 points?
We got a really good team top to bottom, so we just came out, be aggressive, empower our guys to be themselves, shoot the ball, some shots fell tonight. Defensively, we still got to be a little bit better, but, as the season goes on, we're going to continue to make improvements. Tonight was a good night for us.
How do you balance that? Like, you guys have been great offensively. How much do you want to see that defense go up? What has to happen?
That's just a challenge that we got to take mentally. You play 82 games, a game every other night in different cities. Sometimes it's mentally draining. You got to be able to get up every single night, do your job no matter what, no matter how good you are. We got to hang our hat. We got to start with smart. Got to start with me. I got to be better. I started off a little bit slow on that end, so I'm looking to pick it up.
What about you on nights you don't have a guy like Jayson out there? Do you approach it differently? Do you have a different focus on that night?
No, I keep doing what I've been doing this whole time. I think I'm capable of doing anything and everything. So just coming out here, playing with my teammates, having fun, letting the game take care of itself.
You and Marcus seem to have some crazy chemistry. Is that just from the time together? Why is that so special between you two?
That's my brother, man. We done been through ups and downs. We done been through fights, headlocks, all type of stuff. You don't even want to know the details, Chris, I promise.
I want to know the details. That's my job.
Maybe another time.
All right, well, let's end on this. How much credit does Joe Mazzulla deserve for what he's been able to get you guys?
Joe's been great. Joe's been great all season long. He's been pushing me, challenging me to be better, and I'm looking forward to the challenge.
You owe me that headlock story at some point. All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Jaylen.
Headlocks in the locker room? I don't believe it.
Girl, you better
Jaylen
believe
and Marcus? I know. I'm just kidding, Eddie. Let's talk about Jaylen Brown's night. Like you said, he did come out aggressive on the offensive end, but still let the game come to him.
Yeah, well, the one thing I think he recognized that Washington does not have a shot blocker. So I'm going to continue to attack the paint. Their biggest guy that they had out on the court was Porzingis, not known as a shot blocker, not known as a guy that's tough, that's going to establish his dominance inside the paint. So what Jaylen did was just say, and the Celtics overall took advantage of that, understanding that they were soft in the middle, no reason why we shouldn't exploit that. And that's what great teams do. Whatever your weakness is, we're going to exploit that until you make us counter. And if you don't make us counter, we're going to continue to pound you. And that's exactly what they did tonight. And it started with Jaylen.
Jaylen Brown, I questioned whether he would try to do too much, and he didn't do that tonight. But also the pieces around him, like I mentioned, 7 Celtics in double figures. And yes, Jaylen went to work, but the ball movement, 11 straight games with 25-plus assists for this team. And they end up with 130 points despite missing Jayson Tatum, just 3 short of their season high. As we welcome in Scal now from TD Garden. Scal, what stood out to you about this win?
Well, outside of the fourth quarter, which I didn't think we played well at all, it was the ball movement. I thought the team shared the ball, and Eddie said it best. He said no shot blockers out there, so they just took what the defense gave them. When the Celtics are doing that and they have the shooting and they have guys going to the basket, that offense was unstoppable in that first half. I thought the offense was unstoppable in the third quarter with Jaylen Brown, and then, kind of let off, and I understand that. It's just how it goes sometimes. They're used to having Jayson Tatum out there, but man, was Jaylen Brown great, and was the ball movement great in this game?
We'll get back to the great stuff, but yes, Scal, you brought up the fourth quarter. Joe Mazzulla, we give him such a hard time not calling timeouts and then leaving guys out there for too long, but then the Washington Wizards come back, cut it to 12. He had to bring back JB, Marcus, even Al Horford was back out there. You guys, part of those reserve units, that is unacceptable for that group.
Oh. Go ahead, Eddie. Tell Abby giving us the unacceptable, man. It's unacceptable for us to go out there and blow that lead. Abby, I don't know if you ever had, like, I've had some walks of shame. The worst walk of shame I've ever had is when you blow a lead and the starter's got to come back in the game. You got to walk all the way from here all the way to the bench, and that walk of shame is low down. So, yeah, you're right. It is unacceptable.
Hey, Scout, what's worse than that is not even the walk of shame. Is you got to step over the ice that they had on their knees, right? They was done. You know what I mean? They actually were done. Like, they supposed to have ice on their knees. They don't even have to ice after the game. They ready just to go home, do the little interviews and get home. They get home a little earlier. The game was earlier, so everything was going to change. And then when you let go of the rope a little bit, and then you, like, for real though, real talk, you know, as a bench player, those are the things that you look at and like, man, you feel like you let your teammate down, even though we won the game. We blew them out, but they should have never came back in the game. And we're nitpicking, of course, because we're expecting excellence, right? We want excellence. They expect excellence. But at the same time, let's talk about the 3 quarters that they played. Fantastic basketball.
Hey, Eddie, we're just storytelling right now. Because Abby, we're storytelling. You know, when you go to the bench, and you hit them up with the dap, so you hit them up with the dap, and they give you the look away fist.
They ain't rolling. They not rolling.
That's what I'm saying. Marcus and JP are one thing on those young legs. You're calling in Al Horford to come back in after he's been sitting on the bench for 10 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right, Abby, you're right. But I'm just giving you guys some stories. Like, people don't get those stories. Those stories of, like, you'll get this one right here. You'll walk by, you'll be like this. They'll give you.
Hey,
don't look at me.
Or the next morning, like, well, damn, y'all couldn't hold it down? Oh, I thought y'all couldn't hold it down? I mean, I thought y'all was supposed to be all that. That's what P would say. That's P right there. I thought y'all could hold it down. Y'all supposed to be the squad. I thought y'all was the best second unit in the league. You know, that's what. And then you be like, you know what? You right. You right. That's exactly what happened.
So true, man.
Right to the heart. I mean,
it's like I'm telling you, it's one of the worst feelings you could possibly have as an NBA player. I'm just saying. Like, for me, you'll win the game. The next day you'll wake up and you felt like you lost the game.
Right.
Like, I'm not kidding. It sticks with you, and you're just like, the food don't taste good, nothing's good.
Nothing's good. And then you come and no, not even the next day, that night. If it's KG, what we doing? No, but what we doing out there? I mean, what?
That sounds frightening.
You already know. You know what I'm talking about, Scale.
But you guys, this is the first night of a back-to-back. Doesn't that make it even worse?
No,
for sure.
No.
There's nothing more low down than that, Abby. If you want to know the low down feeling you can have as an NBA player that's coming off the bench, there is no worse feeling than going from 29 to 12. Like, it's the worst feeling you could possibly have as an NBA player.
Okay.
Silver lining, this is still a W, though. We got a W.
No, for sure.
And Scout, before we let you go, I do want to talk about, and we need to come up with a nickname for this death lineup, because, Eddie, you're hot on it, too. And, Scout, you mentioned it. With Luke Cornett, that reserve unit that typically plays with Jayson Tatum, played a little bit with Jaylen Brown tonight, more with Peyton Pritchard. But why is that group able to be so effective? Eddie, you were talking about it, that it forces the defense to change.
Yeah, and Scout, you hit on it last game. When they come in, they play different with Luke Cornett in there than they do. They play 5 out with Al, right? There's really nobody putting a lot of pressure on the rim. And they'll play very similar to that when Rob Williams come back, a guy that's putting pressure on the rim. And when you set a high pick and roll and a guy dives down the middle, that's very similar to a paint touch with the dribble, because the defense does have to respect that. So with him, he's going short corner, block to block, and then he's putting pressure on the rim with the high pick and roll.
Luke Cornett.
Luke Cornett. It changes the way that the defense has been wanting to play the whole time against the starters.
Right.
So it's just a different look, and then you're going against the 2. So these aren't the starters. These are the backups that have to figure out how to play, because you're trying to get your mind ready to how you stop starters. And then you have to go against these backup guys too. So I think that's the difference that we're seeing and that's what makes them so effective.
So I had a friend that liked NSYNC, and they used to tell me Justin Timberlake's the show. I can't name the rest of the guys in the band, but I can name JT.
No, he is. You can't name the rest of NSYNC.
I can't name anybody else in NSYNC. I know Justin Timberlake was in NSYNC. Eddie, I'm cold-blooded today, man. I'm cold-blooded today. No, you know my point, Abby. I don't have to say it. You know what my point is.
JT
tell her my point.
tell her off
I'm
air.
out, man. Let her know during the
Cal,
break.
thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow. I can name every member of NSYNC. I'm just going to let that go. I don't know. I cannot say the same for Joe Mazzulla. I'm almost positive about that. Chris caught up with the coach after the game. Here they are.
You said before the game you were eager to see how your guys responded without someone like Jayson out there. What was your biggest takeaway from the way they played?
Exactly how I thought it would go. I thought our guys did a great job. I thought Jaylen did a great job making the right play, seeing the read, getting the ball where it needed to go. I thought Smart was great, had 7 assists. Al made big plays. Grant, Malcolm, our whole team. I thought they did a great job, and so it's good.
How nice has it been, especially in the second quarter, that bench boost? What has been the secret to the bench's success in moments like that?
They're always ready, and they do the same thing our starters do. We maintain our spacing, we make the right read, and we defend at the other end.
Were you trying to get guys a little extra rest at the end of the fourth, or did you have to put the starters back in when it got close?
I was trying to win the game.
Yeah. Well, that's what you always do.
We're working on it.
So what do you got to do now? The second night of a back-to-back, how do you keep up this level of intensity?
Just be ready to play tomorrow. Focus on our details, our effort, and our execution.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Now wearing the Bruins sweater tonight. That was a change-up for him. His answer's not a change-up. Celtics get the win, though, 130-121, as Eddie and Scal don't have to do the walk of shame tonight. You guys are broadcasters now.
Yeah, that's not cool when you have to do that. It's always good when you could keep them with ice on their knees and you don't have to worry about that. But, you know, we got the W. That's all that matters.
Celtics first team in the NBA to 16 wins.